Hello, I'm Lynn Kinsman, President of the Congregation of First Unitarian Church of Rochester, New York, and welcome to the third issue of Board Planks, the bi-monthly communication from your Board of Trustees about what we've been up to and what's to come. Boy, it seems like a lifetime ago since my November communication to you. So much is going on in our church and our world. I hope by now you've seen Reverend Sherry's special message in the February 7th newsletter announcing their upcoming sabbatical from March 24th to August 5th of this year. The board fully supports this plan and worked collaboratively on setting the dates. We gave our wholehearted approval last spring in accordance with our letter of agreement. We are so pleased and fortunate to have Reverend Sherry in our midst. We recognize that their first 5+ years with us have been a whirlwind of a pandemic and recovery, volatile geopolitical hotspots, and environmental catastrophes of all kinds. Time away to reflect and regroup is absolutely essential for longevity, and it's part of the shared responsibility between a called minister and the congregation that called them. The board is excited that Reverend Sherry has arranged for Reverend Bill Singford to work with us during this time and look forward to the perspective that he'll bring, as this sabbatical time is for our congregation to reflect and rejuvenate as well. And I hope you'll join me and the rest of the board in welcoming him very warmly. We've also entered a new era in our country that is unsettling and scary. As a leader of this influential congregation, I find myself asking, are we ready as a community to respond to this moment? Well, that is something that's going to have to unfold over time. And our congregational meeting on December 15th was a good start, with nearly 100 folks attending. We had strong representation from youth and families, seasoned and new members, and even many who aren't yet members. In small groups around the sanctuary and on Zoom, we asked ourselves, both as individuals and as a community, about our risk tolerance when it comes to social justice efforts. And the enthusiastic participation speaks volumes. There is a hunger for deepening our efforts as a community and helping people grow personally as advocates for justice. The linkage committee of the board has been tabulating the data and transcribing the notes, and we are starting to draw some conclusions that can provide Reverend Sherry with guidance for moving us forward toward our social justice vision as a church. So I'll share some of those conclusions with you now. First of all, it's not surprising that there were varying levels of comfort among participants when it comes to activism and social justice work. So we asked people to rate their personal tolerance level on a scale of 1 to 5, which we defined each level. And I'm going to put up a chart here to show you the resulting data we collected. The data showed an aspirational desire to increase involvement from what we were calling about a 3, or an advocate, which is defined as direct support volunteerism, posting or commenting on social media, displaying a bumper sticker or a lawn sign, or serving on a board. Moving toward more of what we called a 4, or an activist, attending rallies and marches, lobbying representatives, speaking at town halls, door knocking, phone banking, or leading a project or organization. So if you want to look at this chart a little more, you can pause the video here and we'll continue when you're ready. Here's some of the other conclusions that we drew from the notes we took at the table discussions. There was a consistency in stressing the importance of building partnerships with community organizations for greater impact. And there needs to be a strong emphasis on building a sense of community within our congregation and increasing the church's visibility in the greater Rochester area through collaboration with leaders, media, and events. And there was a call for more strategic planning and governance before taking on social justice issues that face us. This will require educating members and mentoring new leaders in social justice work, as well as measuring the impact of the efforts we're striving for. There is a desire for greater involvement by families and intergenerational connections in social justice initiatives. And finally, there was concern expressed that social justice work shouldn't overshadow spiritual growth and traditional church functions. So thank you to all of those who participated wholeheartedly in this activity. If you missed the address given by Reverend Sherry and myself, or you want to see the full description of the scales we used to collect some data, you can access the slides and an edited recording of the meeting. And those links are in the printed or email version of this Board Planks issue. And the board is continuing to process all that we've learned and working with Reverend Sherry on the next steps. On another subject that I want to update you on, I've spoken about this before, I want to share with you the simplified ends statements, that's ends statements, ENDS, that the board has been collecting input on. We've had 2 connections events and also handed out the proposed language at the December meeting. We've received valuable input, and we'd like to hear from more of you before we make a final decision as a board. You'll find the full text of the current ends and the simplified language in the printed issue of this Board Planks, down below my closing. And for the video version, I'll read it out after we're done. So please take in this new simplified proposed language and give us your comments. Email us at bot@rochesterunitarian.org. Your next chance to interact with the board will be our annual educational event about our policy-based governance model. Please come to Connections on Sunday, February 16th in the Susan B. Anthony Lounge or on Zoom to hear about how the Board of Trustees and the lead minister interact to govern the church. Hope to see you there. And finally, I'd like to let you know that your clerk of the last 1.5 years, Emily Clasper, has decided to step down from that role, but will remain on the board as a trustee. We are filled with joy for her recent job promotion, and I will let her tell you all about that, and respect her need to resign as clerk to make time for that new responsibility. At our January meeting, the board has appointed Marianne Randall as the clerk for the remainder of the church year. Thank you to Marianne for stepping up and to Emily for her service. And thank you for reading this issue of Board Planks or listening to this video. And I'll be back in about 2 months with another update. In the meantime, be gentle with yourselves and others. And for those who are staying on, I'll read out for you the proposed simplified ends language. We have 4 end statements, and we are continuing to have those same 4 concepts in the new revised version. So here they are. We, 1, welcome all people to our spiritual home, care for each other, and generously give our time, talent, and treasure. 2, support our children and youth in their spiritual journeys, aligning with our Unitarian Universalist principles and values. 3, engage in lifelong spiritual growth through self-exploration, recognizing and confronting our racial and other biases, communicating openly with loving kindness, and strengthening respectful connections with our community and beyond. And 4, act in partnership with others to end injustices, locally, nationally, and globally. So that's the simplified proposed language for our end statements, and we'd love to hear from you. Please email bot@rochesterunitarian.org with your thoughts. Thanks a lot, and thanks for listening to this video. See you next time.